Today on the DML News Podcast, we're going to review things with Charlie Kirk updates and things that just are going to make you go, oh my goodness. Plus, bomb threat was in Utah. Thankfully, it got stopped, but we're going to talk about that in detail and a big, huge movement going on in the UK. So get ready because it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Joining me today, we're here on Facebook, and we're back in the saddle, so to say, after taking 6 weeks off for the summer. And just so this way you know, in case you don't already know, this podcast is coming live every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m., both on Team DML and on the DML News app, and of course, here on Facebook. That's going to stay like that for the rest of September. And then we're going to reevaluate if people think they want to hear more of me again. Well, maybe we'll step it up. If people say, hey, getting you twice a week is just enough and fine for us, well, then we'll keep it at that. We're going to let you decide. With that said, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do if you are on Facebook is please hit that share button. If you hit that share button, not only does it mean that you care, you share. But it also shows the algorithms on Facebook that, hey, people like this. And so the more likes and the more comments and the little hearts things you give me and the shares, it means more people will get the message. So we're going to start off today with the vile people of the left. Vile. Yesterday, I played golf in a birthday party tournament, so to say. And I met a guy. It's really cool how they did it, and I suggest this to everybody. You know, when you have a party and you're bringing people together who don't know each other, which was a case yesterday. We had about 60 guys. I knew maybe about 20 of them. And so what my friend did, who put this together, is he made it so this way. Golf, you have foursomes. You had somebody you knew, and then you had two guys you didn't know. And instead of making it comfortable, where I would just sit in the cart with my best friend, so to say, they switched it up. I had to sit in a cart with somebody I had never met. And it's a really great way to meet somebody. So after the first couple of holes, we're feeling each other out, and I can tell this guy was a good guy, and I think he felt the same way. His name was Jay. It was a pleasure to meet him. And he told me that he was from Connecticut originally, and then he moved down here. And so immediately when I hear the word Connecticut, I think Democrat. It's by default. Now, somebody could say the same thing about me. When I say I'm from New York, automatically it's, oh my goodness, here we go. But so then you get into the whole, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I spent years on Fox News, and I had a show on Newsmax, and I have a podcast, a CBD company. And he says, really, you were on Fox News for years? I said, yeah. He said, what shows? I said, I was pretty much the go-to guest in many different ways for Megyn Kelly, and always on Fox and Friends. He says, I think now I know why you look so familiar. Boom. Now I know I got a guy who at least wants to play in my sandbox. And so as we're going through and you're getting more comfortable about what conversations you can have and what you can't, I recognize the fact that there's nothing I have to hold back with this guy. And of course, we started talking about Charlie Kirk and what took place with him last week. And still, what has been happening in the aftermath of this man's assassination. And he said this to me because I never put my thoughts and I never put my expertise or my wide range of knowledge in various different political subjects. I never bestow that onto somebody because sometimes it could get too heavy for somebody. A little side note, I remember years ago when I was on Fox News all the time covering national security and terrorism and things of that nature. I remember my son was dating a local girl, and we decided that we should go out with the parents. And the father was a cop. He was the top cop in the town. And he started asking me questions about national security and what was happening at the border. And I was telling him everything I knew, everything I saw, everything I was getting from my contacts at DHS and ICE and everything else. And he stopped me mid-dinner. He says, you got to stop. And I said, what? He says, it's too intense. I said, dude, you asked me. He said, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. So I don't purposely bestow all my information onto somebody. I'll give it voluntarily if they ask. And this guy started asking questions. And he said to me, for years and years and years, I ignored the elephant in the room with my Democrat liberal friends. And that was the topic of Trump or the topic of Biden or the topic of Obama, because it would always end up in a disagreement. And I said to him, and how do you feel today? He says, with what happened to Charlie Kirk, I don't feel as if I can stop myself anymore from having that conversation. And I found this to be incredibly interesting. So I said, why is that? And it was multifaceted, and I can see in the way that he was answering, he was passionate about this. He was in a sort of a locked sort of situation where he's been locked up, where he hasn't been able to speak his mind out of fear that somebody was going to call him a racist or a Nazi. And he said, I'm not afraid anymore to say what I want to say to my friends. I want to say to them, how do you celebrate the assassination of a man who has 2 children and his biggest crime is to want to make America great again? He says, you may not agree with his statements, but at the end of the day, or his positions, but at the end of the day, he treated everybody politely. He was a good man. He was a good Christian. And we started saying, he goes, I've never heard anybody who can do, a verse or scripture like him. He knew every scripture there was. He knew every line of the Constitution. He knew everything about history. This guy was 31 years old. He was brilliant. If you don't align with his politics, that's one thing, but how do you celebrate his assassination? He says, and my friends who aren't celebrating it, they're not denouncing it. They're not pointing to people and saying, what is wrong with you? That's not what our party is. And so we both agreed, and this is something I said the other day, and I'm gonna double down on it. I do not believe this is the left versus the right anymore. This is good versus evil. This is normal versus abnormal. If you are a Democrat, there is something wrong with you. What are you voting for? What are you supporting? Because the days of JFK and that whole Democrat Party is gone. Everything today is completely 100% radical. I mean, think about something for 1 second here. The Wicked Witch of the East, also known as Governor Kathy Hochul, she just came out and endorsed this radical Muslim socialist for mayor of New York. It wasn't more than just a few days ago that we celebrated the life and the death of each single person, 3,000 people who died on 9/11 in New York City. And Kathy Hochul is going to come out and endorse this guy? London is falling, and we're going to get to that at the end of the show. I'm going to show you some footage from what happened over the weekend in London. New York City is going to become London. And we know what's happening there. If you don't, I'm going to save it to the end of the show when I talk about the UK. But imagine what New York City is going to look like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months from now. President Trump put out a tweet today. I didn't understand exactly what it meant, but it sounds like he's going to do everything he can to stop this Muslim mayor from ever becoming mayor. If we have time, I'll read it. But I go back to Jay. He's at the point now where he says, I need to confront my liberal friends. I need to understand who they are. Because if you are somebody who wants to support somebody else who thinks that Charlie Kirk was a Nazi and a fascist and a horrible human being and he deserved it and rest in piss. I mean, the memes out there are just earth-shattering. And I said to him, I said, Jay, if I said, I cannot stand Hillary Clinton, AOC, but at the top of my list, I can't stand Ilhan Omar. And God forbid something like what happened to Charlie Kirk would have happened to somebody who was a Democrat, or namely those three women. I would not be tap dancing on their death. I'd be saying, hey, you can despise her. You can just reject every word out of her mouth, but you do not assassinate somebody. And when that happens, you do not celebrate that. That's evil. That is just downright evil. And so what I'm seeing, at least online anyway, and in my first conversation that isn't online, my God, I've been spending my entire life on Facebook and Twitter over the last couple of days. In fact, it was amazing. I just showed Mary the statistic last night. Over the last week, my posts have reached 139 million people. 139 million people. And now you wonder why I'm asking you right now to hit the share button. And I'll tell you why. Because for too long, I got cozy. Just like Jay, just like you, just like Ryan, just like everybody. I got cozy. Yeah, Biden sucks. What are you going to do? We got to hope to get Trump back in there, make America great again. All right, wave my American flag. It's more than putting a flag on the flagpole or on your front porch that is required to be a great American. You can't just do the Pledge of Allegiance and say, I'm done for the day. You can't just wave a Trump flag and say, I'm good for the month. Not at all. And when I just watched what Charlie Kirk had to endure, which is the greatest sacrifice there is, in the most horrific way in front of his family and in front of the world, I say I need to do more. And listen, there has been big time results from what we've been doing. Because other people who have big accounts like myself, be it on X or be it on Facebook, we're doing the same thing. We're getting the message for you. And then what's happening, I didn't reach 139 million people because I have 139 million followers. Not at all. I reached those people because you are fed up to no end. And you hit that share button. You cannot be afraid of sharing your thoughts. If you are afraid of sharing your thoughts, if you don't dare put a message on your Facebook that is real and that is polite but is hard-hitting, if you don't reveal what these people are doing in terms of their ugliness, you are part of the problem. If you just scroll through and take a look and say, ugh, and shake your head, and then move on to the next video or the next post, and you don't take your action, the momentum fails. The momentum fails. And we will be right back to where we were, and Charlie Kirk would have died in vain. We can't let that happen. We are on the cusp right now. There is a thin line, my friend. There is a thin line between losing our country and winning it back. And my goodness, the hair on my leg is standing up as I'm saying this right now. There is such a thin line. And the difference between winning and failing is you. Is you. And you may not believe that, but I have never lied to you ever before. It is you. 139 million people just on my account alone. We're going to change something here. Ryan, I'm going to change the direction of, if it's not too much trouble for you. Can we play the gentleman who's the Democrat first? Can you get him up? Yes? Okay. I'm going to change the order. I have some videos here for you. I think it would be a more powerful segment here if I played a video of a man who has been a Democrat his whole life and said, enough is enough. Play the video, Ryan.
Hey guys, no half-assed gardening tips for you today. This is just a public message, I guess. I was an old school Democrat. I will never vote a fucking Democrat ever. I was a Purple Party independent. You lost me. I'm all red now. When you celebrate and rejoice in the murder and assassination of someone who just was giving a different point of view than what you're used to in the fucking colleges these days, you are and will always be part of the problem if you're rejoicing in that. He was a family man. He just came and was respectful to everybody and was assassinated for it. It's fucking pathetic. And so has what the Democratic Party has become.
Okay. Now, again, there was some profanity in that message, but you know what? Sometimes you have to use the word. You have to use the F-bomb in order to be able to emphasize your point. Here's a man who usually goes online just to share tips about planting. And he felt so compelled to go online to his followers and say, I'm leaving the Democrat Party. Now, why do I play that video as an example to how important it is that you are in the game? Because that man is a Democrat. So let's make the argument that he's getting his news from left-wing propaganda. CNN, New York Times, you know the list. What is bringing him the information that says Democrats are tap dancing on Charlie Kirk's death? Nothing. Nothing will. Because none of those outlets will even start to shine a light. Oh, no way. How he finds it is that his friends and family who are not of his ilk in terms of politics, he's looking and he's seeing. And when he sees the vile, when he sees the hate spewing into his newsfeed, you've maybe thought that your cousin or your brother or your sister-in-law was ignoring that. Trust me when I tell you, they will always look. They will always look. What's Margaret sharing now? What's Jason ranting about now? And they see it. Here's what they see. I am going to play for you right now. It's a little long. It's a little over a minute. This is a video of a young girl, and she is basically calling for more people to be assassinated, including Charlie Kirk's wife and his children. Play.
So I keep on seeing like posts about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever, regardless. And let me just say this. I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end dog. Get rid of them all. And the ones that are above him. Your mayor. Your city councilman. What is it? Georgia Power? The people that keep on raising our shit? The CEO, get rid of them. Yeah. Like, what? It was so crazy. I watched like a 60-minute, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. 1 minute edit of like the things he said, and they're like so atrocious that like his wife deserves to go too. Y'all keep on talking about his wife and kids. They need to go too because they're carrying on that mentality and that lineage. Like, get rid of the whole family. I'm so sorry. Why did you guys stop with him? Why did you stop with him? Go get his grandma. Because who raised you? Like, your mom ought to be ashamed for breathing scum like you. Get rid of the whole family. Like y'all too scary. Y'all too scary for revolution. Y'all too scary for progress. Like y'all want results without putting in the work. You won't have to take out trash to get a clean house. Like it is what it is. If the trash can is stinking up the house, you gotta take out the garbage. Take the garbage out, y'all. Take the garbage out. All right. Not me. I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Yes, disgusting. Yes, needed to be shared. I shared that. You shared that, hopefully. And what winds up happening is that her video spreads far and wide. Now, there's a couple of things that will take place. Number one, the FBI gets alerted of somebody like that. Trust me when I tell you, the FBI right now and all law enforcement, and I know this because I'm working with law enforcement right now, all of them have their antennas up and they understand that the left has become so radical that they cannot ignore something like that. Now, here's where this is dangerous. Do I think that young girl is going to go take a hunting rifle, perch herself up on a building, and then, try to take out Dennis Michael Lynch when he gives his next speech? No. But what concerns me about her, I don't know what she does for a living. Let's say, for instance, she's a waitress. And I go into a diner to which she's working, and I have a Make America Great Again shirt on. Or I've got a Team DML shirt on. And she says, a Team DML hat. She says, what's Team DML? She looks it up. She sees who I am. And now before long, she's spitting in my coffee at minimum. Or before long, she's taking something off the ground and putting it in my food. Or she's taking something like a drug or something else and spiking my drink. That's the sort of mentality that person is. They need to be watched. Their accounts need to be on a radar. And so with all of that, the next iteration of this is we must protect ourselves against people who have the power to hurt us. That girl in her employment, whatever she does, somehow, some way, likely has the ability to hurt someone. She's unhinged. She's dangerous. She needs to be called out. In times past, what we all did was we just shook our head and said, you know what? Here you go. Another one from the ghetto. Or here you go. Another one from freaking, radical colleges. It doesn't matter if they're black, they're white. It doesn't matter. We just keep on shaking our head. You can't shake your head anymore. You can't. The Democrat Party, the progressives, liberals that are off the charts nutty, and it's almost all of them. I haven't found a Democrat that I can highlight to you and say, this guy ain't so bad. This girl ain't so bad. They're all bad. And so they're a threat. They are a national security threat. Here's how you take care of this. You spread the message. I invited people on my Facebook page to email me at wetrustdml@gmail.com. I invited them, hey, send me the link, send me screenshots of people who seem to be unhinged and radicalized, especially here with Charlie Kirk or with President Trump. Now, I was getting a lot of people sending me things that had already been posted by big accounts. Some of them I just said, all right, I'm not going to be me too. Somebody else has that covered. But I'll give you one that was a perfect example. I get one yesterday for a woman named Patricia. And Patricia is a nurse in Missouri. And she has all over her Facebook, there's nothing else on her Facebook, anything else other than hatred for President Trump and Charlie Kirk, to the level that she is celebrating Charlie Kirk's murderer, calling him a hero, saying that she has now got guns to protect herself against MAGA. What? Time and time again, there's another thing on her Facebook, another dangerous post. And I say, this woman's unhinged. She's a nurse. You think I want her administering my IV, bringing me my meds, taking care of me at my most vulnerable when I'm on a gurney in an emergency room or in ICU? No way. I took a collection of all those screenshots. She published them, not me. No AI here. She published them, not me. You publish something on Facebook, that means you want the world to see it. I just gave her a bigger platform. Thousands of shares. Tens of thousands of likes. Today, I am going to call that hospital and we are going to ask why it is that they have Patricia in their employment. That woman has no right being a nurse and caring for the general public. If you walk into that ER or that ICU, you don't even have to be the patient. Let's say, for instance, I'm the patient and Ryan walks in with a Make America Great hat on. I'm going to be found guilty by association simply because my son is a Trump supporter. She sees that, he leaves. Before you know it, nobody's helping me. She's going to take it out on me. And there's no doubt that she will, because she can't separate herself. She's unhinged. Those people need to be called out. You know, the Charlie Kirks of the world we know about because he was famous and arguably the greatest orator in terms of Republican conservatism. But how many people do you think, quietly, that we don't know the stories to, have been mistreated in a hospital, have been mistreated in the workplace, have been mistreated in schools, simply because of their ideology, because they are conservatives? Do you know how many times my kids told me when they were at college that they felt as if their school papers were given a lesser grade because of the way that they approached a topic, an issue? It's endless. These professors who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's life coming to an end, these are the same people that have your kid or your grandkid in a classroom or in a lecture hall for an hour, 2 hours, many times a week. If you think they're able to say that sort of thing inside the classroom, outside the classroom, what do you think they're saying inside the classroom? There was just a story we put out. Albeit this was in Canada, but a teacher forced 10 and 11-year-olds to watch the actual assassination of Charlie Kirk and then started to explain to them about fascism and Nazism. We, you and me, are guilty. We've allowed this to happen. We have sat back, we've just shook our heads at saying the insanity of it all, and we let it happen. If your kid continues to fail in school and all you do is just shake your head and look at your wife and say, you got to be kidding me, and you do nothing about it, your kid's going to continue to fail. And so now, unfortunately, we're chasing the ambulance. Instead of preventing it, we're chasing the problem. But you know what? We're going to catch the problem. We're going to surpass it. We're going to stand in front of it, and we're going to stop it. There is a movement in this country right now that I am so proud to be a part of. It has brought me another sense of life. It has brought me another sense of purpose, because Charlie Kirk shouldn't be bigger in death than he was in life, and he's going to be. There was another person in history that was like that. His name was Jesus. Charlie Kirk's murder cannot be forgotten. And I'm already seeing it happening, because I'm seeing the shares are getting a little less, the likes are getting a little less, the comments are getting less, because you know what's happening? You're getting oversaturated with Charlie Kirk. And I get it. And it's even going to be more as the next week goes on, and these vigils and the funeral and everything else. But you cannot forget what happened. You have got to keep the momentum. It is the fine line between keeping and losing our country. Now, I want to shift gears here and start talking about another problem that everybody has been afraid to talk about because you're going to get censored, you're going to get deplatformed, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. No, you cannot worry about that any longer. You have to worry about the dangers of what's going on in the land of trans. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blast people and belittle them. But what I am going to do is I'm going to call it out for what it is. And anybody who's been following me for a long time, I'm looking at some of the names here. Kenneth Camp, Shirley MacLaine. Shirley MacLaine, my God, why do I always do that? Shirley Blanchard. Shirley MacLaine follows me too from heaven. But you know that I have been saying for the longest time that transgenderism is a form of mental illness. I do not say that as a criticism. I say that as a real, heartfelt analysis and diagnosis, even though I'm not a doctor. We understand, if we look at this, how this has happened. And I talked about this last week, and I feel bad even having to repeat myself here, but let's just remind ourselves of the bullet points. We kept our kids locked up during COVID. We stuck digital devices in front of them and said, learn and just keep yourself busy. And they did. They did on TikTok. And little Dennis, who could never get the attention he wanted for whatever reason, maybe he wasn't the cool guy, he wasn't the quarterback on the football team, maybe he wasn't the most handsome dude and the girls laughed at him because he had a lot of acne, who knows what it is, but little Dennis never got the attention he wanted until he converted himself into little Denise, and then everybody paid attention. And now he's getting that attention he thirsted. And now his head starts to believe the headlines. And what people don't understand about the human brain, and I've done an incredible amount of research on this sort of stuff, watching and listening to experts on this, your brain does not know the difference between reality and virtuality. So if you're sitting there and you're virtually believing with your eyes closed, I know I'm going to get past this pain on my side because I'm going to be walking a month from now without any pain. And you're seeing yourself walking and you're telling your brain that this is what needs to happen. That pain is likely going to go away because you're programming your brain to say, hey, I got to walk. In a month from now, I got to be walking 5 miles a day. And the brain says, oh, that's where we're going. Oh, I got to fix this side pain. But if you're sitting there all day long just saying, I got this side pain, I can't walk, I can't do anything, I'm stuck here at home, I can't do, your brain's going to be like, okay, Dennis is telling me we're stuck here, so now I've got to get myself ready for being stuck. It's called manifestation. It happens. First day I saw my wife in 9th grade, I saw myself marrying her. I was that infatuated. And what wound up happening? I married her. When I was driving through Texas to go to Arizona to film the second part of They Come to America Too, I said, you know what? Hannity wouldn't have me on the first one for They Come to America, but this time he's going to have me on. And I saw him giving me an hour special, which is unheard of. 2 months later, I had an hour special on Hannity. You have got to see yourself in the place. Well, the problem with that is that little Dennis sees himself as Denise and says, oh, maybe I really am a Denise because when I was little Dennis, I was getting 5 people to pay attention to me, but now I'm getting 5,000 as little Denise. And so his brain starts to see that he's little Denise. And that's a mental illness because now everything he's starting to do is antithetical to who it is that he was born as. This contagion is going bat shit crazy. And so then the next iteration is, well, they hate me because I'm Denise. They hate me. They want to take away my identity. They're saying bad things about me. I really am a girl. Who dare you? Who are you to say that I'm not Denise? And now the hatred starts to boil. And all the trouble starts to fester. Some, unfortunately and sadly, will take it out on themselves by committing suicide. The trans suicide rate is unbelievable. Others will take it out through violence. And we are seeing that time and time and time again. And these are the stories we only hear when they're so extreme. How many stories do you think are taking place of violence and heartache in this whole arena of trans arena that we never even hear of before? Because we have gotten to a point in our country, in our media, that unless it is sensationalized, unless it is so grotesque, it really doesn't find a place in anybody's newsfeed. And that's a problem. We're ignoring things. The alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, it was confirmed over the weekend, so this is no new news to you, but it was confirmed over the weekend that he was living with a trans, a boy who is in the process of transitioning into a girl. We have a short little 15-second clip here that is of this gentleman, whether he wants to admit it or not, gentleman named Lance. Take a listen to what he says about cookies, but more importantly, take a look at what he looks like.
For Christmas, I got one of those cookie boxes, but here's the magic part. Watch this. There are actually cookies inside of here, and I've never seen that in my life.
There you go. There you go. Put your microphone on a second for Rye. I want to ask you a question. I'm going to bring my son Ryan in here for a second. I don't understand enough about this, but he was part of a thing called the furry. Do you know what furry stuff is? What is furry?
So furries is like, I don't know if it's really like a transgender thing, but it's kind of like kids dress up in like cats and stuff, and they wear suits, like costumes.
Okay.
And then they act out like being a cat and stuff, so they're called furries.
They're called furries. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it, but
well, thank God.
Yeah. But I think the essence is to like act like an animal,
really,
and then dress up like it.
That's the concept.
Yeah.
So mentally sick.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, if you were to become a furry, which animal would you prefer to be?
Don't ask me that. I can't even like think about me being a furry.
Well, and here's the point. Lance is a furry, you know? And look, we've heard these stories before, and they're true. One of my best friends back in New York, his daughter was taking the school bus. She's now in college. This is going back 2 years ago. And they had a girl on the bus who every day dressed up as a cat. She really wanted to identify as a cat. She wore a tail, she wore the cat ears, and they let her do that. That is a mental illness. How does nobody see that? How do you let this girl just get on the bus and say, oh, okay, she needs help? That is a scream for help. And we're calling it out. It's no more turning a blind eye. We're calling it out. You send it to the authorities, and that is that. Okay? I'll give you an example. Let me see if I can pull this up. I don't know. I don't want to take too much time on here. I'm not playing games with this. You know, I wrote something yesterday on the, it is in this. Okay. I wrote something yesterday. No, it's on my We Trust. I don't think I could get it on this one. Give me a second. Let me just look something up here. Let me see if I can get this up for you. I want to read something to you. I have my email address out there, obviously. And let's see who we got. Where's Ian? Okay, I got it. All right. Ian. I'm not going to put his last name here. Ian sends an email of screenshots that I'm posting online, identifying these nuts. And he writes, please help. This man is posting vile things and needs to be stopped. You see that? Please help. This man is posting vile things and needs to be stopped. That's what he sends to me. And I wrote back, "Are you making a threat?" And he said, "Nope, just voicing my opinion." Now, in the days of old, I would have let that go. Here's what I did. And Ian, hopefully you're watching, big guy, because we're now watching you. I reached out to the 3 detectives who were in this very room on Thursday of last week after our podcast was over. And I have their cell phone numbers and I have their emails, and 2 of them. I reached out to them last night and I said, "Hey, I'm going to forward you an email." And they said, "Okay." And I forwarded them the email, and then I responded back to this Ian guy again, and I said, "Ian, if you're just sharing your opinion, great, but I'm not gonna stop at that. We're gonna need to send your information to the authorities." And I did. Ian's information is now with the authorities, and these authorities are connected to DHS and FBI. And that's what has to happen. Because according to Ian, I need to be stopped. Those words are very important. I need to be stopped. Okay. You think I'm going to play that game? I ain't playing that game. I am not Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a gentle, understanding soul. I'm a different cut. You want to F around? You're going to find out what happens. That's that simple. I am going to make sure that I take every step that I have in front of me towards a law enforcement or a legal means to stop you. And that is the mentality that you must also have. You must also have that mentality. Now, I want to shift gears here to another story, which is very, very problematic. Very problematic. This was last night. I'm actually going to read this to you if I can find it. Where is it? Okay, you ready? This is last night. Last night, this is another story out of Salt Lake City, Utah. 2 men were arrested after an explosive device was found under a news media vehicle in Salt Lake City Friday. Now, this was actually a Fox News truck. Adib Nasir, 58, and Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir, 31, were both arrested for the offenses of manufacturing or possessing a weapon of mass destruction, threat of terrorism, attempted aggravated arson, and possessing or removing incendiary items and their parts, according to an affidavit. On Friday, police documents indicate that the Salt Lake City Police Department Bomb Squad, along with the Unified Fire Authority Arson and Bomb Squad, responded to a suspicious device in Salt Lake City. It is reportedly determined to be a real explosive device that was placed under a news media vehicle that was parked near an occupied building. Police said nearby residences were evacuated. The FBI reportedly seized evidence related to the explosive devices from the scene in Salt Lake City and discovered additional contraband and evidence of other crimes. Police documents said this included firearms, explosives, and related components, illegal narcotics, and electronic devices believed to contain evidence of the crimes. Adib Nasir is a restricted person not permitted to possess firearms, and Adil Justice Ahmed Nasir is reportedly also a restricted person. Both have a history of possession of illegal narcotics. Nasir is a restricted person and prohibited from also having firearms. Now, they tried to detonate this thing, but it wouldn't go off. Do you hear the 2 names? You think those 2 names tie back to something Middle Eastern? I do. I do. I certainly do. Now I'm going to play a video here for you. It's just, it lasts a couple of seconds. This video is out of Iran. Play it, Ryan. Okay, I lied to you. It wasn't Iran. That's Philadelphia. Ryan, let that B-roll play a couple times. That is Philadelphia. I just showed you Philadelphia. That doesn't look like Philadelphia to me. That looks like Iran to me. That looks like Egypt. It looks like Syria. It looks like Iraq. It looks like Turkey. It looks like all of these. It looks like Yemen. It looks like all of these radicalized countries who have a deep, dark hatred for the United States of America. You come back to me. They have a deep hatred for Christianity, and they have a doctrine that says that the United States must be taken over from within. Why are we allowing this? You want to do that? You want to have your calls to prayer multiple times a day? You believe in Allah? You want Sharia law? Have at it. Back home. Back home. You know, every day I have been posting ever since the young refugee Irina was killed on the subway. Let's not forget about her in North Carolina, or the subway, I'm sorry, the train system. I have been every morning religiously putting out a short video on Facebook. I feel it's my obligation to inform people. Today's video, and I ask you to share it, if you go back and you look at it, I speak about immigration, which is my bailiwick. I want you to understand what we are doing to ourselves. Since 1991, that is basically 35 years in the making, our country has been taking in over 1 million legal immigrants into the United States of America. Those numbers in some years have gotten as high as 1.5 million and 1.9 million. It took a little bit of a nosedive for 2 years during COVID, where we still took in over 700,000 people in 2 years, each one consecutive. My goodness, I wasn't allowed to go to my aunt's house or my uncle's house for Christmas, but we're still going to take people in? What is going on here? We have averaged over 1.1 million people per year. 1.1 million people per year legally for the past 35 years. That equates out to roughly 40 million people through legal means. They come here, they have kids. And that's why Philadelphia looks like that. We are giving these people the keys to the kingdom. So when you see that there is a Fox News truck next time that may actually blow up because the bomb detonates, and you scratch your head and say, who would do that? Well, Ahib, Emil, that's who does it. We've got terrorists in this country hiding in plain daylight, and nothing is being done about it. Getting a little bit more into those statistics. 1.1 and a half, let's just go 1.2 million. 1.2 million people a year, every single year. It's going to happen again this year. Trump hasn't stopped it. 1.2 million people, between 7 and 8% of those people are going to be from China. China, our number one adversary in the world, China. That equates to just under 100,000 people. Not just this year, last year, the year before that, the year before that. Go back 35 years. Next year. Middle East equates to about 50,000 people a year. Why? Nobody can answer this to me. Now, what you may hear in the crazy lunatic arguments of the people of Washington, D.C., is that, well, we have a population problem. We're not producing enough children. We need to import these people, as if we don't import them, our country will have its demise. My ass. You just got to be smoking dope all day long to think that's true. First of all, let's take a look at some things. You can put your microphone back on there, Ryan. There is a very easy reason to point to when it is why we're not seeing more traditional American families, and I don't mean the immigrants from the Middle East or China coming in. I mean, having families of the size like mine, 4 kids, 3 kids, 7 kids, two kids. They can't afford it. They cannot afford it. My son Ryan is 25 years old. Ryan, what is the greatest fear you have about starting a family?
Home ownership.
Because it's unobtainable?
Yeah, basically. I mean, think like if you want a good home in a good neighborhood, especially in, Florida, you're looking at what, like 400,000, 500,000.
That's a bottom line.
But that, yeah, and to start a home, like a family, if you wanted to, 2 kids, you need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath or 3-bath. So it's
so the cost.
Yeah, the cost.
There you go. So that is where the problem exists. The reason why the Ryans of the world aren't starting families young and aren't having the big nuclear family is because we have created a situation to where they cannot afford it. If you want to take the costs out of Ryan's life, the first and easiest thing you can do is turn off the immigration system. Because Ryan's taxes are paying for these people to come here. Understand that the majority of these people are coming here poor. They're coming here with nothing. We're giving them money when they come. We're giving them food stamps when they come. We're giving them housing allowances when they come. And we're trying to find them a job. So the job is given to them instead of an American. And all the costs associated with them is being put on the shoulders of today's youth. And then to make matters worse, they're pumping out kids left and right because we're paying for those kids. They're getting all the welfare with those kids. And we're screwed. That's why you're seeing, in large part, why our population of people who look like me is shrinking. We're importing people from cultures that don't align with our culture. If you really wanted to make an argument that we needed more people coming in here to keep America America, well, then what you would do is you'd be importing an incredible amount of people from Poland, Ireland, Italy. That's where they would be coming from. If that really was what it was that you were trying to accomplish. In the same way that if Iran wanted to increase their population, I would see it be reasonable that they were importing people from Yemen. Or you know what? Take all those Palestinians that feel like they have nowhere to go. Why is it that none of the Middle Eastern countries want the Palestinians? And better yet, if all these people want Allah and they want to be praying 5 times a day in the middle of the streets of Philadelphia, why aren't you staying where you were? Instead of coming here and complaining how people look at you with a side eye. President Trump needs to stop the immigration into this country. And Stephen Miller, his right-hand man, knows this to be true. And I'll explain to you why and how he can do it. The President of the United States can turn off immigration with his pen. Now, grant you, just like when he did his small little travel bans, there will be fights against him. It will go legal channels, and it will go all the way up to the Supreme Court. My contention is this. If I were the President of the United States, if tomorrow I became the President of the United States, the first thing I would do is I would write an executive order that says that immediately, this very moment, I don't care if you've been waiting online for 12 years, and I don't care if you're from Ireland, or I don't care if you're from South Africa, I don't care if you're from Yemen. you can't come in. We have to stop our immigration intake, both legal and illegal. But legally, we have to stop it for the next 20 years. Now, if you think that sounds harsh, do not tell me that America is a land of immigrants. America is a land of Americans. America is a land of laws. America is one country under God. And the reason why Trump could get this order through and could beat the Supreme Court trying to come back at him is if it is sold the correct and truthful way. We have a major national security issue by means of not having the ability, the resources, the people to vet 4,000 people a day. 1.2 million people coming in here, 4,000 people a day, including Saturday and Sunday. 4,000 people. We don't have that many people checking and vetting people. So what's happening is that it's a rubber stamp of approved, 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 approved. If you hit denied, well, that opens up a whole new box. Why are they denied? Lawyers get involved, an appeal is made. It's so much easier to just go approved, 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 approved. So what you do is you turn the whole thing off. And you say that the only way that we can turn this back on is when we have the ability to vet correctly. And when some Mrs. Brown on the Supreme Court comes back and says, this is all about people of color, you don't want people of color. No, has no idea. No, Ireland, Poland, Italy, everybody. It's cut off. We cannot vet. And then I would say to Miss Brown, hey, guess what, Miss Brown? Here is a bowl of 100 brown M&Ms. And in that M&M pile, the 100 in there, there's one with cyanide. I'd like you to put your hand in there and eat an M&M. Take your choice. She wouldn't stick her hand in because she wouldn't take the risk of grabbing the 1 out of 100 that is going to destroy her. But yet she wants us to take in 1.1 million people. It only takes 19 to take down an entire city. It takes 2 to blow up a truck. It takes 1 to shoot somebody. We have got to get control of our population, both people who are here, who are running around thinking that they're cats, people who think that other people should be killed because they're Nazis, because they say, I want secure borders. We need to take control of who we are and who we are not. We do not want to be London. We do not want to be the UK. We want to be the United States of America. The UK, London, was once a place that you dreamt to go on vacation. Oh, I really want to go to London. Oh, I'd love to go to the UK. That's such a special place. You couldn't give me money and say, I'll send you for free. Not a chance. That whole area has become nothing but a freaking Sharia law, Islamic nut freaking region. And the people of the UK, what they did was what I talked to you about in the beginning. They just kept on flipping up the feed and say, man, it's starting to look a little worse. What the hell is that? Is that a video of Iran? No, that's Philadelphia. Wow, we've got the same problem here now. They've lost their country. Thankfully, although I think it's too late for them, to be quite honest, because the leadership in so many different provinces over there, or however they call it, cities, however they do it in London, there is an incredible amount of government now in the UK that is all Muslim. You've got people having longer sentences in jail for saying negative statements to people of Islam in that area than the Islamics who are carrying out egregious crimes. Ryan's going to play, we're going to play some B-roll here. Millions of people showed up on September 13 In the UK, there's a guy there. His name is Tommy Robinson. He's the big, huge immigration guy there. He's the big. I don't want to say he's a Charlie Kirk, but I guess if they had a Charlie Kirk, this is him. Look at the crowd there. It's massive. And you know what the liberals tried to say? The liberal news media? Oh, 100,000 people showed up. That's not 100,000 people, folks. That right there, that's millions of people showing up and saying, we have had enough. You're not taking away our free speech. You're not going to impose Sharia law. You are not going to allow criminals and migrants to run the street and rape our women and steal our things. And you're not going to do it. You're not going to take our country away. Millions of people showed up. So there is, my friend, there is a movement taking place around the world. It is happening. But the United States, look how big that crowd is. It's still going. They try to say it's 100,000. That's millions of people. The United States remains the leader. We must set things by example. We must show that we are no longer going to tolerate people who are a risk to society. We are no longer going to bend. We are a Christian nation. We are a people who believe in the nuclear family. We believe in prayer. We believe in the Pledge of Allegiance. We believe in the rule of law. And you are not going to be able to walk around with 14 crimes or 30 crimes and just carry out your next crime. That girl was killed on the subway. 14 priors that scumbag had who killed her. Released on DEI. Another story on Facebook over the weekend. A man, 30 different crimes he committed. 30 different crimes. He was out on parole. He was also a child molester. He wound up killing a white elderly couple after torturing them for 5 hours and lit their house on fire. Why was he still out on the streets after the first crime or the second crime? The 30th crime? Things are unhinged. We've got to do better, and we will. And so I ask you, I'm going to look for your comments here. A couple of questions I'm going to ask you. Number one, did you share this? Did you share today's program? If you didn't, why not? Can you look yourself in the mirror and say why you didn't share it? Share it. Are you sharing the other things you see on my Facebook and other accounts that people need to know? If not, why? You're part of the problem. Share it. Share it. Doesn't cost you any money. But it might be the difference between saving a life and saving a country. And that's that. Also in your comments, tell me, is the 9 a.m. program, live program, okay with you? It is my preference to do 9 a.m. And like I said, Monday to Thursday. And quite possibly after September is over, if all things align, maybe I'll do it more often. Let me know how often you would like me to do it. And that's that. I appreciate you being with me here today. It's been an hour and 5 minutes, and it's been the pleasure of my son Ryan and me to be with you. My son Denny is doing newsletters like crazy. If you want to sign up for our free newsletter, 47 Report, you get it every single morning. Go to DML360. That's DML360.com. Sign up. And always check the spam to see if it's in there. And we're going to be starting up again with the DML Report and DML Health newsletter as well. And we were doing that fantastically before the summer started, and we're going to be right back into it again. So do me a favor, DML360.com, sign up for the newsletter. And do not forget, please share everything that you see that I post that you say to yourself, you know what? Other Americans need to know about that. I appreciate your time. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless Charlie Kirk, the President and the Vice President of the United States. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.